September 17th, the feast day of a man who lived in shadows of suspicion, surrounded by conflict, and tested by lies. He never carried a sword, yet he fought one of the fiercest battles in church history. He is Saint Robert Bellarmine, the defender of the faith. Robert was born on October 4, 1542, in Montepulciano, Italy. His family carried a noble name, but they were poor. From his earliest days, Robert was weak in body, often sick, often underestimated. But in his weakness, God was already building strength. He loved to read scripture, to pray in silence, and to ask questions that pierced deeper than most adults could answer. The boy who looked fragile carried within him a fire that would one day challenge nations. At the age of 18, Robert joined the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. He was tested in discipline, trained in philosophy, and immersed in theology. Unlike many scholars of his time, Robert was not only brilliant, he was humble. He believed that knowledge without humility is poison. Robert became a professor at the Roman College, teaching young men the faith. His lectures were clear, sharp, and full of fire. Students hung on his every word. His writings soon spread across Europe. But Europe was not at peace. The 16th century was a battlefield of ideas. The Protestant Reformation had shaken the Catholic Church to its core. Armies fought, kingdoms broke apart, and faith itself seemed to be under attack. Into this storm, Robert wrote his greatest work, The Controversies. Page after page, he defended the Catholic faith with razor-sharp arguments. His words were weapons, not of steel, but of truth. And his enemies felt their sting. But when you shine too brightly, shadows always rise. Protestants raged against him, calling him dangerous, corrupt, a liar. Even inside the Catholic Church, some feared him. Imagine this: you give your whole life to defend the truth, but both enemies and supposed friends whisper against you. Robert lived under constant suspicion. Was he too harsh? Was he too gentle? Was he too loyal, or not loyal enough? Every move he made was watched. Every word he spoke was weighed. Some even believed his humility was an act, a disguise. They could not accept that a cardinal, one of the most powerful men in Rome, would live like a poor priest, wear simple clothes, eat little food, and give his wealth to the poor. Robert himself once warned, "The school of Christ is the school of love." In the last day, when the general examination takes place, charity will be the whole syllabus. It was charity, not power, that guided his life. And that made him dangerous to those who lived for power alone. Robert's greatest suffering was not in prisons, nor in torture chambers, it was the invisible battle. The rejection. The suspicion. The lies whispered in shadows. He knew at any moment his books could be banned, his voice silenced, his career destroyed. He knew kings plotted against him, politicians hated him, enemies in disguise waited for his fall. And yet, he carried on. His pen never stopped. His voice never broke. He once wrote, "If you are wise, you will show yourself a fool for Christ, a madman for Christ. The wisdom of this world is foolishness with God." Robert was ready to be called a madman, ready to be despised, if only the truth could survive. Robert served the church faithfully until the end. In 1599, he was made a cardinal. Later, he became the Archbishop of Capua. But his heart never changed. He still lived simply. He still gave to the poor. When he died on September 17, 1621, the city of Rome mourned. They had lost a man who had carried truth through fire. But heaven had gained a saint. In 1930, Robert Bellarmine was canonized. The following year, he was declared a doctor of the Church. Few men in history have been given that title. It means his wisdom, his writings, and his example belong to the whole world. He is remembered today as the defender of the faith, the patron of catechists and teachers, and the man who showed that truth and humility together can withstand any storm. Saint Robert Bellamine's story is not one of swords or violent death. His battle was harder. It was the battle of the mind, the heart, and the soul. And here is his challenge to us. Will you defend the truth, even when it makes you unpopular? Will you live with humility, even when pride could win you power? Will you choose love, when hate surrounds you? Robert once said, "Charity is that with which no man is lost, and without which no man is saved." His life is proof that courage is not always loud, and heroes are not always martyred. Sometimes courage looks like a quiet man, standing firm, refusing to bend, holding truth with trembling hands but an unshakable heart. And today, his voice whispers to you, stand firm. Love deeply. Defend truth. And never forget, humility is stronger than pride, and truth will always outlive lies.